the best way to compare Aishwarya Rai is like that she is the Taj Mahal of Indian cinema.
Oh my God, that's so generous.
So you've had some phenomenal performances, be it Guru, be it Devdas, so many of them, be it Ravan as well.
Even Sanjay later on told me that at one point he was thinking of asking me for Khamoshi.
Right.
And he said, but you just joined the pageant. And I said, she's gone. But I lost Khamoshi. Because by then I was joining movies, right? And I was like doing Hum Dil with him. Hello, this is Aishwarya Rai Bachchan and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
So, Aishwarya, you know, a friend of mine was telling me that, in fact, I told him that I'm coming for this Aishwarya Rai interview. So, you know, people have this entire notion about you in terms of that you are from some other planet. In terms of, you know, he told me a very interesting thing that...
tell him, nahi, ye sirf notion
definitely.
hai. Hum yahan baat kar rahe hain, there's no such thing.
So basically he said that, you know, the best way to compare Aishwarya Rai is like that she is the Taj Mahal of Indian cinema.
Oh my God, that's so generous.
So, you know, this entire notion that you have in terms of people just get so awed by your good looks and the fact that you have very different sort of good looks. And you battle something throughout your career as well that you've had some phenomenal performances, be it Guru, be it Devdas, so many of them, be it Ravan as well. But the fact is that people speak about the beauty. How have you dealt with this aspect?
So when I first joined movies, I knew I had some work in the modeling world prior to joining movies. And as my destiny would have it, I had, even though everybody in the business knew that, you know, very established, respected filmmakers were asking me to join movies before I even did Miss India and became Miss World. It's just today on hindsight, my story almost sounds conventional. Ki modeling kiya, went to the pageant and joined the movies. That's the way it'll probably be read eventually. But to those who were in the business at the time and they recall it, and it was even tabled because obviously it's there in the media, that you know, whether it was Yashji, whether it was Vaji, whether it was you know, Dharmesh, Shekhar, even Mani and Rajiv and all of you all were talking about joining. I mean, it could have possibly happened before the titles. I mean, even Sanjay later on told me that at one point he was thinking of asking me for Khamoshi. And he said, but you just joined the pageant. And I said, she's gone. He told me this on the first day. I had just, no, before we started Dola, before we started shooting for Hum Dil, I'd come to just see the set because it had rained. And we were going to start with this thing, Dholi Taro. And he told me, you know, I can, when I was walking and my hair was, that day was whatever, wavy, the way it was natural. And he said, you know, this is exactly the way I saw you in Khamoshi. And he and Anil smiled, Anil Mehta. And I was like, really? You can, I mean, and I loved Khamoshi. I loved the music.
Very nice.
And for a second I was like, really? You thought of me for it? And for a second I was like, I missed doing that with you. So he was like, Arey, you went. It's what is meant to be is good, yeah. I mean, you became Miss World. I was like, but I lost Khamoshi. Because by then I was joining movies, right? And I was like doing Hum Dil with him. So he was like, yeah. And I was like, I guess meant to be. And I used to keep like humming the song and imagining, what if, you know, I was, because it happens.
Definitely.
But eventually, see, I mean, Hum Dil was what it was meant to be, and a fabulous movie for us to start working together, one I always treasure. And so whatever is meant to be in life. But yeah, coming back to your question about the apparent. My mindset started focusing on this referencing, ki, look at the work the filmmakers are talking to me about. I mean, even if it is something like Khamoshi, look at the story of that protagonist. That is the entire role of
Manisha
that girl.
Manisha Kurala.
Done brilliantly by her, okay? But at the end of the day, directors were talking to me about roles.
Definitely.
They weren't taking me for 2 scenes and maybe song, if I could sing and dance. Also, they wouldn't have known that they would have discovered along the way. So I started seeing, whether it came to money or at that point Raji and me had discussed doing a lot of work together. Mansoor had asked me for Josh.
Right.
I mean, these are all filmmakers whose work I loved. And they were asking me to do nice ideas, good roles. So I started shutting down to people, possibly all the chatter around whether I had the acting chops or not, whether I was just a looker with no potential. I said, look, I by then had already started experiencing quite a bit of judgment. So I started of course I hurt, I was only human, but I did started developing the ability, started working on the ability to start dimming out the white noise, trying to reduce the impact of listening to that and try focusing on what was really happening in my life. And that is the biggest of filmmakers of my industry was showing immense faith in me and not giving me fly-by-night paths. They wanted to work with me on very interesting roles at the time. And at the time, I say, because at the time, just being cast with a big lead was a big deal.
Definitely.
So at the time, if this is what they were approaching me with, and at the time receiving narrations, receiving scripts, actually discussing with me about my possible interest in doing projects was a very big deal. Again, for a newcomer, when I'm joining the work, even the producers I worked with, I mean, full respect to every one of them who I worked with, because they treated me like a professional. They let me discuss my terms. They let me come on board. I thought that was new for the time. So I was very grateful for the way I was being embraced, accepted into this very fully functional, full throttle, already functional business, you know.
Sure.
And that meant a lot to me. So that is what I started focusing on. Having said that, I also started then with time and experience, because then you think, chalo, these roles will change perception. To some extent, yeah, because the reviews would say where they wanted to say that I did a good job. But I also recognize it would always be laced with, when she's in the hands of a capable director, they managed to extract a good performance out of her. So I said, okay. And that continued for a while and sometimes still does. So I listened to it with a smile, because I'm like, if that's the way you have decided to view it, so be it. Because you've decided that this is the way you're going to read somebody's capability. That's fine. As long as on set, all these amazing directors I work with do not treat me differently. They have always treated me very much as a team player. All the established, experienced actors and colleagues I have worked with, right from the beginning till date, have accepted me as a team player, and I am somebody who is very vociferous in my exchange on set. And that is something, shuru se, nobody at any point, I don't know if amongst themselves they've gone, like, you know, oh man, she has an opinion or she has a thought. Possibly, because afterwards I used to hear it in humor. Like, like some of my male leads would say, yahan bhi bolti ho, like, oh, and you share, and I would hear that, but with a smile, and I'd be like, okay, is that, I don't know, are they trying to say I should or I shouldn't? But that never stopped me. My directors never stopped me. And they would sometimes joke, okay, you know, there'll be a lot that'll come from her. They laugh, but they have indulged my contribution. They haven't ever denied me that freedom to share. And I wouldn't let anything either. And that is why working has always been lovely. And I focused on that. Having said that, this is a visual medium. And everybody is working on bringing something to the table visually as well, be it a male lead or a female lead. So beauty is a very has very vast possibilities in perception. Literally in the beholder's eye, and define it as you want. But everybody is working on that visual aspect, on screen, off screen, whatever it takes to bring to this visual medium. Once you start recognizing that reality, you can't have someone like me have self-doubts.
Definitely.
So that is what, or start believing on the negativity or discounting opinions either. Sun lo, when you feel it's constructive, apply it. When you think it needs to be water off a duck's back, so be it. With that perception, and that perception I started developing early. It may have taken its time, and you take it from strength to strength with every passing phase.
Definitely, I think वो तो कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे. I think that will always be there.
Hello, this is Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.